First and foremost, we'll get the Pledge of Allegiance in a minute, but want to congratulate the great Philadelphia Eagles wearing the straight from the airport beads. Go Birds. All right. Now, if everyone would join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I want to give notice that we did have an executive session prior to this to discuss real estate, some legal issues, and personnel. Now we have several presentations. First, I delightfully want to ask Representative Lisa Borowski, and if you have some staff members with you, to come up. Senator Capoletti had planned to be here, but I hear she has a sick child and won't be able to make it tonight.
Is this for me or for you? Am I singing? No.
Well, if they're singing, it's all you.
No, I'm not singing. We'll sing Fly, Eagles Fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to start?
I'll start with it.
You start. Okay.
Are we on? Yeah. Okay. First, up we have a check we're going to have two state grant checks here. The first is the LSA. I was speaking to you. The LSA grant for the solar roof for this very building in the amount of $500,000.
Yay. So it's such a thrill for me to come home and bring some state funds back here to Radnor for an extremely worthy project. I know this is something been on the docket for a long time. And this is Diana. Diana is with Senator Capoletti's office, representing for her today. So Amanda and I are really thrilled to be able to bring this and excited. So can't wait for the new roof and the savings that it will bring the township. So very good to you.
Yeah. Just for those that don't pay attention to a lot of our meetings, the solar panel is consistent with the clean energy plan that the board adopted back in 2021. It's been in its various stages of engineering and feasibility, but we have the green light now, and so that project should get started later this year. And we are excited as well to save money on the utility, add some clean energy take some of the energy off the grid, and then also have the building stop leaking. So in that order, we're excited to have all that happen. So thank you very much.
That is a positive. All right, let's do it. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. All right, so when can we come see the solar roof?
When?
We'll
have a party.
We'll have a party, a solar roof party.
Yeah, that'd be fun. All right. Our second check, this is a good way to start. Yep, we need to ask Mainline School Night to come up. Heather, you've got to come too. Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Come on. You did a lot of the groundwork for this.
We can send you a picture.
Yeah.
We'll send it to you.
Okay, the next is a check for $826,775. Woo-hoo. Sure. Yeah. To the Kreuzberg Center, Mainline School Night, and for a RACP grant for improvements to the Kreuzberg building.
So this is another one that's been a long time coming. We've been working with Mainline School Night. It's a long time coming. This grant hopefully will help us kind of kickstart and get off the ground. The building itself has some issues, not dissimilar from this building. We got to button it up. There's a lot of not just water intrusion, age, but there's also ADA accessibility, electrical. the same list that you would find at just about any building that's that age. So this will be a fantastic project to get the building brought up to today's standards and help Mainline School Night be even more successful than you already are. Thank you.
We just deep appreciation. So, and I need to give props to Heather Bendit, who worked with the township on securing this grant. I've only been here for 7 months, and obviously these things take a little bit longer. But I know she worked very closely with both of you ladies, and we are pleased and proud to have you as friends of Mainline School Night, and we look forward to really macking out this building and making it something we can all be really, really proud of for generations. So thank you.
Always fun to give money out for good causes. All right, next up, we have Janie Lau is going to come and speak to us a little bit about the 250th celebration in Delaware County.
Thank you, President Myers, for allowing me this time to speak before all of you and to your constituents who might be watching or listening. My name is Janie Lau, and I've lived in Radnor for over a decade now, the longest I've lived anywhere in my entire life. I speak to you tonight as a publicly appointed member of the Delaware County America 250 Commission. As many of you know, our country will celebrate its semi-quincentennial next year, marking 250 years since the Declaration of Independence and the founding of American democracy. I am honored to serve on America 250 PA Delco, which is our local nonpartisan initiative to engage all Delaware County residents in the meaningful commemoration of America's 250th anniversary from now through 2026. We encourage all who live or work in Delaware County to join us in this important endeavor. Some of you might be old enough to remember the bicentennial in 1976 and what a big deal that was. This is an occasion that each of us will be lucky enough to experience only once or twice in our lifetimes. So please visit our website at america250padelco.org or just Google us to get involved. You can read about all the programs that we are coordinating or supporting. And if your organization has special plans for the semi-quin, please reach out to see if you can become one of our community program partners and receive funding and support for your efforts. Commissioner Agnew, I know that your wonderful event, the South Wayne Porch Fest, is already in such discussions, so thank you for that. As a Radnor School Board member, I am hopeful that all school districts, including Radnor, will use the 2025 to 2026 school year to ignite their students' imaginations and inspire service by telling the diverse stories about America's founding and history. Above all, we at the Commission hope that each of you will find your own way to celebrate your freedom and express your hopes and dreams for the next 50 years of the great American experiment. Indeed, let us do nothing less than to answer the call of Lincoln. Let us ensure that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you, and I am happy to take any questions or comments that you might have.
I do have a question. I was thinking that Liberty Bell should go right on the corner of South Wayne and Lancaster Avenue. I'm just thinking, just throwing it out there for you to consider. Just saying,
We
it's a
can
great
take that
place.
under advisement.
Any other questions or comments?
But that is a great point. I know that we have Philadelphia as our next door neighbor, and they're obviously going to get a lot of attention. But I think Delaware County, we do, hold this unique role. There are a lot of untold stories about Delaware County, and we're just so excited and happy to tell them. So, we just encourage everyone to kind of recognize the unique role that our county holds in our company's founding and history, and to come to us if you would like to, join us in telling those stories.
Thank you so much for coming. All right, next we have a presentation that actually I requested. As everybody, if you think back a year ago on Valentine's Day, actually, we put up the bridge deterrent system on King of Prussia Road after having had bridge strikes on an average of almost once a month, serious bridge strikes, stopping traffic, hurting drivers. The police know well how dangerous it was. So I just wanted to get a year after we did this. Is it working? Isn't it working? What's going on with that update? So that's what we're doing tonight. It'll be brief. Mr. Foster, do you want to start us off, or Mr. Flanagan? I'm not sure how we want to.
Yeah, I'll start them off,
all
Madam
right, Mr.
President.
Wright.
While Officers Pyrie and Janowski, I believe you gentlemen are going to be giving the presentation. And then there was one. No, just I want to give these guys some credit, along with our engineer, Mr. Norsini, and our Public Works Director, Mr. Foster. As you pointed out, Commissioner, this was a long time coming. There's a great deal of work that went into evaluating different systems, making recommendations to the Board of Commissioners over years and years and years. And then finally, as you noted, last year we were successful in getting a system put up, but not after, or only after we got a grant that helped offset almost all the costs, which this presentation will touch on as well. So, gentlemen, take it away, please. Thank you.
So this is a project that we started as a guidance of Superintendent Flanagan back in late 2016, and we started to really put our boots on the ground and really start doing an investigation in the systems we can come up with in early 2017. So it's obviously the bridge in question is the Amtrak Bridge, which is located on King of Prussia Road. The data that we got from our research, which we went back into our records management system to 2008 up to 2025, the current day. We had 150 trucks that have struck that bridge, which have been reported to us. There's been other bridge strikes where trucks have backed out and left, which weren't reported to us. So we don't really have a true number of what it actually could have been. That's what we have in our record files. So the King of Prussia Road, it's a state roadway, and the Amtrak Bridge is federal property, which is what kind of led us to where we are today, almost so many years later, to have a system in place. Because there was back and forth is who's going to pay for what. The bridge isn't ours and the road isn't ours. So that was the issue we had. Who's going to fund the projects that we were able to come up with a solution that was impacting us as a department and us as a township and our residents who commute on the state road daily and use the train. So you see here, this is kind of what is the straw that broke the camel's back. We had a lot of bridge strikes that occurred over those years, but we didn't have any substantial damage. But with this particular strike, it was a motor carrier. It was a pickup truck pulling cars that were stacked in twos. So the truck was able to make it under the bridge, but the cars that were on the upper deck of the trailer couldn't. And it actually made contact with the I-beams. It cleared was able to get under the protective beam and actually impacted the undercarriage of the bridge, which actually tore one of the I-beams. This is just the same data, the 150 strikes that we had from that time. So when we started doing all the investigations into the systems we can come up with, the only thing we had in place to deter the truckers from striking was signage, and the signage wasn't working. That area became sign polluted with 1010 warning signs, and they weren't effective. That was the only guidance PennDOT was able to give us at the time when we instituted this study. As you see, these are the signs that PennDOT put up in all the approaches, because as you saw the slide earlier, the yellow sign is an advisory sign in Pennsylvania, which it's exactly what it's advisory. It's not, us as the police department, we can't do any kind of enforcement on it. It's just there to give you kind of information. There's a 1010 bridge. If they hit it, we couldn't cite them because in Pennsylvania, a black and white sign is regulatory, which gives us the authority and power to cite a driver for violating the sign. So on all 4 approaches, we had giving the truckers direction. Either you have to make a left turn, you have to make a right turn. You couldn't go straight anymore. So it gave us the authority to, if a truck did strike the bridge, we're able to cite the driver under the vehicle code for their violation. But they didn't work. We were still having trucks ignoring the signs because we know signs are only as good as the people that can read them and pay attention to them. As we know, signs, they don't really work. So, as the commissioner said earlier, we were getting just about a bridge strike every month, some worse than others. So this is the truck that actually damaged the I-beam. If you can see that there was 2 cars on the top of that, they're no longer there. That's them. They were the cars that were being towed. What's missing from this, there was a car, a passenger car with a mother and her children driving through. That car landed on top of the passenger car that was, as they were passing together. So initially, this is the system that we were investigating and looking into. It's an overheight vehicle detection system, which uses an infrared and an electronic beam. A truck drives through point A and B, and it flashes on a sign ahead telling you there's a bridge, you better stop. This system was only used in Pennsylvania at the airport at the time when we started this study. That was the only place that was using something like this. It wasn't something that PennDOT approved or used anywhere on their roads. And this is just a picture of what the system actually looks like. This is from our initial study. It's just 2 poles and 2 I-beams that shoots a beam across the road. The truck drives through it, breaks the beam, and it alerts them on an electronic screen that they're about to hit something. And it was a very pricey system. And again, due to state and federal regulations, we were restricted with the options. PennDOT wouldn't approve us to use something like this on their roadway. And since it was a state road, our hands were kind of tied with that system, and it's very expensive. And going into that study, we would have had to use 4 approaches because there's four state arteries that lead into that bridge that trucks use. So we would have had to put up 4 of those vehicle height detection systems at a very costly price. So it kind of halted the production of that study and us getting the electronic vehicle overheight detection system. So through all the years of trucks continuing hitting the bridge, us continually put up signs, us continually calling PennDOT, asking them to give us some relief to help us, this was a system that we came up with. They put up a traffic arm, and we call this our trapeze. This is basically a hollow aluminum I-beam hanging on plastic chain at a distance of 10 foot, 10 inches from the road. In theory, the truck is supposed to drive under that beam. They're supposed to hit that beam. It's supposed to alert the driver, get their attention that they're about to hit something. But this system, when it first went in, this went in, I believe, February of last year. It was ineffective. As you see here, this is the same pole with the beam. The beam's no longer there. It was almost falling down daily. If a truck even tapped it, it was breaking off the plastic chain. If it was a windy day, it would fall down. Public, we were calling Mr. Foster almost every other day asking him to come up and fix it. We were really tapping into his resources. I believe between February and August, if I'm correct, Mr. Foster, it was about 50 times we had to have your guys come out and put it up. At least. So we were really tapping into his resources and pulling his people from their duties that they were tasked to do on a daily basis. And that's basically what this says here. It's estimated 50 times for repair due to the weak chain, poor design. It wasn't effective because when that system was up, we had 2 bridge strikes. Now, when the truck struck the bridge, we don't know if the I-beam was in place or if it was laying on the ground. So we don't know what contributed to that, if it actually hit the beam or if the beam was, again, roadside. So after that system was deemed not effective, this is the current system we have. This went in August. So from August till today's date, we've had 0 strikes based on that system. So it seems to be working very effectively. It was installed August 21st of last year. We had 0 strikes. And we're not using Mr. Foster's people anymore because when the trucks do hit it, it's been very minimal damage, if anything. The cans seem to stay in place because they're now on a thinner metal chain, so the weather doesn't seem to be affecting the integrity of the chain, because obviously plastic, when it's cold, it snaps and breaks. The metal is a little more structurally sound. And I don't know if Mr. White or Mrs. Norsini wants to speak to this slide here. It's the funding that has nothing to do with us. I believe this was estimates, and there was, I believe, from Lisa Borowski, I believe we received a big check to help fund the project to where we are today. Anyone have any comments on the costs? We're not
No,
we're not numbers guys.
You did better with it than you thought. Really, I mean, the project's $166,000, of which we were fortunate enough to get a grant for $120,000 of it. So the net cost of the township, about $46,000 to get the system where it's at today. We will have some maintenance going forward with replacing the cans as they get broken off and destroyed, but those will be somewhat minimal. Certainly minimal in comparison to the cost when we do have a strike and have to shut down traffic and the impact to the area. The one other element is the board did pass the ordinance that allows us to go back and bill bridge strikes, so there was some revenue recovery there. We don't have those totals for tonight, but hopefully going forward, that's not something we have to worry about too often as the system does its job.
So when the bridge strike does occur, this is going to what Mr. White had just said, we adopted an ordinance to help recoup some of the township's monetary from the police responding, public works responding, the fire department responding. Because with these bridge strikes, in our line of work, nothing is the same. Everyone is different. We can be there sometimes for 20 minutes. There's some days we can be there for 6 hours. And that's obviously taking the resources away from the township for somebody who couldn't read a sign to hit a bridge. So basically, this goes through the solicitor's office. Us as a police department, we don't fine the carrier because the ordinance doesn't fine the driver. It goes to the owner of the truck, the company. So it's not affecting the person who actually drove the truck into the bridge. And the things that are taken into the cost of the fine is the expenses incurred by the police department and EMS, actual labor costs of Radnor Township personnel, cost of consults and others preparing reports, which goes in estimates of damage, our police reports, the crash reports, cost of the equipment operations, which could be the tow trucks, the cranes that have to come in, cost of material obtained by Radnor Township, it could be public works using things to clean up the roadway if there's oil and other damages, the cost of the Radnor Township engineer connected to the accident, and recovery costs to the fire departments. And what you're going to see here, this is a video that I actually captured live from the in-car camera. I was sitting in the parking lot. You can't see it, but to the right of the screen is where the overhead vehicle protection system is sitting. And as you see, all you observe a tractor trailer coming at about 35 miles an hour, heading straight towards the bridge with the green light right in front of me. And because he didn't see any of the 1010 signs. And we'll play the video and see how effective the system is. You see the cans are swinging. He hit them, and he's now stopped. So I saw it happen in live time. It worked. And then I conducted an interview after I pulled him off the road and put him in a parking lot, and I did what we call a field interview with the gentleman. He's a professional truck driver. He's an overnight hauler, and I asked him, "How'd you get here? Did you not see the signs? Like, we have signs everywhere." He just basically said he was following his GPS. And the big problem we're having that we've been seeing over the years is commercial vehicle drivers aren't using commercial vehicle GPS. They're using Waze, which is for us who drive passenger cars. They don't get bridge heights. They don't get hazards. And he's just hauling down the road, not paying any attention to the signs, listening to his GPS, and he was on his way to King of Prussia. Got off the Blue Route and ended up here. No. Unfortunately, he didn't hit the bridge.
Thank you. That was great. The video was really impressive. But the only thing I'd seen was one of the trash trucks that Mr. Foster had sent over one day to just show how it worked when we did a kind of public service announcement. So
yes, we remember that.
This is terrific. Yeah, this is terrific.
We were there. We remember that one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Officer Janowski and Pyrie.
Can I just ask one question?
Absolutely.
Thank you for this. It's great. I've been very excited to see the success of this. But you raised the issue about the maps. Is there a way for us to indicate to Waze or Google Maps that
We've
there
tried.
is- Because I
We've
know
reached
that they
out-
called us before.
We've reached out to Waze, we've reached out to Google Maps, we've reached out to the American Truckers Association. We've done our due diligence from the inception of the study to where we are today. We've reached out to everybody. It's just, we can't force them to implement things specifically to our town.
Understood.
It's,
Yeah, well, a great solution for a big problem. Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, moving on. Public participation. Does anyone out in the audience want to participate tonight? You'll get a chance under each agenda item also, so. Oh, great.
Very brief comment.
Wonderful, just give us your name and street.
This is live? Okay, yeah. Julian Norris Santo. My address is 424 Inverary Road in Villanova. I just want to say, as a longtime Radnor resident, how thrilled I am about the solar roof. There's so many of us, as you probably know, who for years and years have been advocating, and we've been proponents of whatever you want to call it, green energy. I just think it's wonderful. And second, again, as a member of the community, it's really encouraging and heartening to see the support for Mainline School Night and the Kreutzberg Center. I just can't imagine our community without Mainline School Night. I hope that never happens, because there have been some, I think we all have had some excellent experiences there, whether it's a bus trip or an art class or guitar playing or whatever it may be. So, great. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public participation?
Good evening. Caroline Budo. I'm with Mid-Penn Bank. If you're not familiar with Mid-Penn Bank, we've been around for over 150 years. We're present in 19 counties across PA and New Jersey. And I'm going to be in Wayne starting Tuesday, the 18th. We're going to take over the old Republic Bank building on 212 Lancaster Avenue. I welcome everybody to stop on in and say hello. And we're also going to have a ribbon cutting on March 12th. I believe it's at 9:30. Please stop on in, say hello, and we'd love to see you there.
Good evening. My name is Jody Bezanella. I work with Mid-Penn Bank for 11 years, and we're just really excited. Everyone has been so kind. I've been spending some more time in Wayne the last couple of weeks, and everybody has just been really open and seemed to be excited about a new bank coming into the area, a community bank with community bank philosophies and features. We have a lot of great programs, full service, trust and wealth management, mortgages, home equities, insurance, anything that you can think of. And with the gentlemen that were just here, I think they left, we do have a special program for veterans and first responders that we're really hoping to get out in the community, because we think it's important to reward those individuals that give so much to their community. Hopefully we'll see everybody at the ribbon cutting next week. I'm sure there'll be some treats to pass around, and hopefully we can, share some of our community banking programs with you. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks so much, and welcome to the community.
Thank you.
All right, any further public participation? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. There's only one item on the consent agenda, so does anyone want to pull it? No? All right, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? And a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Let's go to the business agenda. The first item is item 3A, ordinance 2025-02, an introduction, approving a 10-year lease with the Wayne Presbyterian Church for property located at 125 East Lancaster Avenue. I just want to say that this is a agreement that we've worked hard for. The church has been very generous and worked with us, and we're almost there. Mr. Nelson, do you want to speak to this?
Yes. This is just a continuation of an existing lease the township has had for decades. John Rice has been working with the church on getting this lease approved. Do you need me to go into the details, or?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's fine. I just
It
wanted to be
basically,
sure you
I
didn't
think
have something you wanted to say. as much
not
as
at all.
anything.
This basically really kind of continues the agreement and the cooperation between the township and the church that we've been having through these decades, and is continuing for the most part for hopefully the next 10 years, I believe. So,
Wonderful. Could we have a motion for ordinance 2025-02? So moved by Commissioner Larkin, and a second. Seconded by Commissioner Agnew.
isn't this introduction?
Any
This is-
question?
This is only the introduction.
Yeah. So we don't need to,
We don't need a vote,
we
correct?
don't need to vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought we voted on it anyway.
Do you do?
We
Okay.
usually
Nope.
vote on them anyway.
Sorry.
Sorry, no.
Haven't been
New
here in a
lawyer
while.
tonight, sorry. Threw me for a loop, though. All right. Pardon me? Oh, are there any questions or comments from commissioners? No? Okay. Any public participation on this issue? Seeing none, I would like to take a vote on ordinance 2025-02, the introduction. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Item 3B, Resolution 2025-21, approving the extension of the existing pilot agreement, a payment in lieu of taxes, with the Jewish Federation of Greater Philadelphia for an amount of $30,733.49 for 2025. And note that this is just an extension of a previous agreement. Mr. Nelson? Oh, wait, could I have a motion, please? So moved by Commissioner Mulroney, second? Second by Commissioner Riley. Mr. Nelson?
Madam President, I'll lead in
Oh, you
on
wanna
this,
lead in?
and then Mr. Nelson can help out with the legal, any legal questions, and Mr. Tate, if there's any math-related questions. But this is a one-year extension of a pilot that has existed. The length escapes me, but it's been greater than 10, 15 years. As the board is aware, a separate pilot agreement was reached with the developers that will eventually be the senior living facility at the site. Because that has not moved forward yet, this is a one-year extension of the old pilot agreement. So at some point, when the new facility starts its construction, the new pilot will take over. But since that hasn't happened yet, this is basically extending the old pilot for at least one more year.
Thank you. Any further comment? Any questions or concerns from commissioners? Any public participation on this issue? Seeing none, I'm going to call a vote. All in favor of Resolution 2025-01? Raise your hand. Aye. Aye. Unanimous with Commissioner Larkin abstaining on this issue. Item 3C, Resolution 2025-22, authorizing the purchase of 3 new heavy-duty pickup trucks for use by the Radnor Township Public Works Department in an amount not to exceed $250,275 to be financed through a 5-year lease purchase as funded and approved in the 2025 Capital Improvement Plan. Could I have a motion, please? So moved by Commissioner Agnew, and a second. Second by Commissioner Riley. Thank you. Mr. Foster.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Before you was just as you noted, Public Works, while composing our 2025 budget request, we asked to purchase 3 heavy-duty pickup trucks, and as you can noted, that is part of a 5-year lease purchase. So before we actually move forward with that, we wanted to ask permission for the board just to remind and get that approval again to go and make the purchase.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns from commissioners? Seeing none, any public participation? Again, seeing none, I'm going to call a vote. All in favor of Resolution 2025-22, raise your hand. Unanimous. Item 3D, Resolution 2025-23, authorizing the purchase of one heavy-duty pickup truck for use by the Radnor Township Sewer Department in the amount not to exceed $83,055 to be financed through a 5-year lease purchase agreement as funded and approved in the 2025 Capital Improvement Plan to be paid from the Sewer Fund Number 2. Could I have a motion, please? Moved by Commissioner Agnew, second by Commissioner Mulroney. All right, Mr. Foster?
Thank you, Madam President. This is the same as the first. Instead of 3, it's just the one heavy-duty pickup truck to be used by the sewer division within Public Works. It'll be the same 5-year lease purchase. The only difference from this to the other is the funds to purchase this truck will be taken from the sewer fund, unlike the first 3 trucks that'll be taken out of capital. And we just wanted to ask for permission before we started to purchase the vehicle.
Thank you. Any commissioner questions or comments?
I do have a question.
Okay.
So just curious financially, why are 3 coming out of capital and 1 coming out of sewer? Maybe the manager can answer that.
Yeah, this one, under Resolution 2025-23, that vehicle will be assigned to the sewer division. So the crew that operates out of Public Works that manages our sewers will use this truck, so that's why. That's why it's funded with the sewer dollars and not general fund dollars.
Any further questions or commissioner comments? Seeing none, any public participation on this issue? All right, I'm going to call a vote on Resolution 2025-23. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Item 3E, Resolution 2025-24, authorization to purchase one Chevrolet Equinox EV vehicle to replace Car 22, assigned to the Community Development Department. The new vehicle and fit-out will not exceed a cost of $45,000 as approved in the 2025 Township Capital Plan. The funds for this purchase will come from the approved 2025 Capital Improvement Fund and will be partially offset by trading in the existing fleet vehicle at current market value. Could I have a motion, please? So moved by Commissioner Agnew, and a second. Second by Commissioner Riley. Mr. Kachansky, you want to start us off?
Yes. As you note, this is a replacement vehicle for one of our aging fleet vehicles. It will be a full electric vehicle as we move in that direction in accordance with our clean energy plan.
Excellent, thank you. Any commissioner comments?
I
Commissioner
do.
Agnew.
This is for Mr. White. Mr. White, can you tell us, so what's the breakdown that we have for electric vehicles versus hybrid versus gas? Where are we in the new charger installation, and sort of how's that overall with all of our vehicles, and how are we moving to meet our green whatever it is?
The clean energy plan.
Clean energy,
Yes.
that's it, plan. Green something.
So as we sit here today, we have 3 fully electronic vehicles, all within the police department. As we discussed at the last meeting on the January 27th, 2 of those vehicles are the Ford Lightning trucks, one assigned to the community support unit, the other assigned to one of the police lieutenants. And then more recently, we added a Chevy Blazer EV that is assigned to the other police lieutenant. So those are the 3 that we currently have. If this resolution is approved by the Board of Commissioners, this will be our 4th EV. This will actually be the first. This is the first vehicle replacement from one of our daytime-only departments. So what we'll be able to do with these vehicles. And as we move forward through the systematic replacement of vehicles within those departments, those being community development, engineering, parks and recreation, where they are only needed in the daytime hours, we'll have the opportunity to charge them through the night. So this is the first one in what will be a series over the next few years, which will bring us to 4. And those are the EVs. On the hybrid side, we currently have, since 2020, we have added 8 hybrids to the police fleet. In fact, all of the police vehicles, all the Explorers that are the high-use vehicles, so close to 24/7, where they're given from one platoon to the next every 12 hours, so they're constantly in use. That's where we're putting the hybrids into service. So we've been able to purchase 8 of those in the last 4 years, which is a pretty quick turnaround with those vehicles. Obviously, the police vehicles get turned over much quicker because of their use. So that's where we're at with that. And we still have, obviously, the overwhelming majority of the fleet still being powered by gas and diesel. As we've been talking about internally, we know that with some of the larger vehicles in Public Works, waiting for the technology to catch up, as of now, that's not an option for vehicles needed for plowing and the heavy-duty work that's needed by the Public Works guys. And then with the charging station, we received our permit as of Friday of last week. The engineering department reached out to the contractor today to initiate the pre-construction meeting, which we expect to occur within the next week or two. Depending on the contractor's schedule and the weather, weather being important because the ground will need to thaw for the trench that's necessary. I'll say it, Steve may get a little anxious, but worst case scenario, April, we'll have the charging stations installed. Because the actual construction itself, I think, is going to go relatively quick based on the information that we got from Mr. Wagner earlier today. So by mid-spring, that charging station should be up. We'll have the 3 vehicles that we already have. This one will take a few months if approved, but we'll have those 4 spots for them. And we'll always have the charging capabilities that we've installed on the lower part of the building in addition to.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Just one other note, I think it's important the vehicle that's being swapped out here that we're going to trade in is a 2008 Ford Explorer, so it had a good run.
We got our money's worth.
Yeah. And the departmental vehicles, non-police and Public Works, we do hang on to them for some time. So the transition might be a little slower on those.
Any further commissioner questions or comments? Seeing none, any public participation on this issue? No? All right, I'm going to call a vote on item 2E, resolution 2025-24. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. All right, that concludes our business agenda. Next item is reports of board liaisons. Anybody? No? Seeing none. Now we're for new business. There was one item highlighted to me. Commissioner Mulrooney, you want to take this one?
Thank you. So this item is a discussion among the board about an item coming in front of the Haverford Zoning Hearing Board. So not in Radnor, but our neighboring township in Haverford. They are renovating their elementary school, the Coopertown Elementary School. It borders Radnor. So the residents on Highland Road, very concerned about this project. I will say that I want to thank my colleague commissioner, my contemporary over in Haverford is Laura Cavender. She's done a really nice job of informing even the Radnor residents. She sends periodic updates so that they were notified in time to go to the school district held a special meeting, I believe. So And I do believe that that they are listening to the Radnor residents and trying to make improvements as asked. The big thing, like any school, is pick up mornings and afternoons, parking for staff and visitors that encroaches upon resident parking. But I think they're in the Radnor residents. I've only really heard from one family. So if there are others who have some concerns about this, I'm happy to have those conversations. But with it coming to Haverford zoning, I would request from my colleagues here on the board that if we could send our solicitor to simply monitor and be there to advocate for Radnor residents. So I would be happy to field any questions, hear any concerns, but if there are none, I think I just give a nod to Peter to attend. I think that meeting is next Monday. So does anybody have any objection? Do you want
Just
to
one
speak to it?
clarification, it will not be me.
Okay.
I'm away,
Okay.
so, but we will
But
find
somebody
someone from the firm, yes.
Yeah, and if whoever that would be wants to speak to me ahead of time or see some of the comments that have come to me from residents, I would be happy to share with your partner before they go, if it's not John
Yeah,
or somebody
I
else.
mean, yeah, I'll tell John, if we're asked to go, I'll tell him. He will probably be the one who finds someone to take care of it.
Okay,
And either he or whoever that person will be will definitely probably talk to you.
yeah, thank you. I mean, I want to be respectful of Haverford's process, but I think we have a voice in it. So if you all are willing to allow me to ask counsel to our solicitors to attend, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and I just want to reinforce that she's not asking for someone to advocate or not advocate. You're just asking for someone to pay attention and see what's really going on.
All right, that's a yes. Thank you.
Thank you, I'll pass that along.
Any further new business? Seeing none, old business. Again, one item was highlighted. There has been ongoing work being done with the Willows Park Preserve about noise and noise that flows over to the Inverary neighborhood. And I know that Commissioner Abel's been very involved in this issue, as has Commissioner Agnew and myself. So we heard there were some meetings with the township and just wanted to get an update. Mr. Norsini, I heard you were there.
Yes, so we did get a report done by a gentleman named Scott Nye, and in that report, it was a detailed report. There were several suggestions that he made. So we met with the WPP to go over those suggestions. And I just want to let folks know, they have been making strides over time, and we were all somewhat waiting for the results of this report. And in general, one was a certain type of speaker with a different width, 3 different suggestions he had. So the WPP has already started to move on the first suggestion, which was to plant buffer screening in between the tent and the house to reduce the reflection of the sound. So that'll go in the spring. The other 2 involved more or less a ceiling inside the tent. It's like a cloth ceiling, and I don't know that it's an acoustic ceiling. And probably the larger one was speakers that had a different angle of which they emitted the sound. So in meeting with the manager, we are trying to line up a test of all this. So the tent goes up April 21st. The first event is in May. So we're working with Mr. Nye as we speak to meet after the tent gets set up, hopefully literally a day or 2 after, and run a test with the speakers, with the ceiling, with the trees planted, as well as having monitoring up. And that test would be hopefully attended by everybody. When I say everybody, representatives of Inverary, representatives of the township, and the WPP. So all can see, how it's working. And at that point, we would move from there. So we're trying to lease the speakers, so not to buy them right off the bat. And really, that's in April, we'll have some more results.
Excellent, thank you. And you got my question right, you already answered it. So any questions or comments? Commissioner Abel.
The first event's in May. Do you have a date?
I do, and I apologize, I do not have the date of the event. The April 21st is when the tent goes up. It's a few weeks after that. I can have that for you. It's literally in my office. I can have that for you tonight.
I believe it's May 3rd, Commissioner.
Okay. Is there a meeting, is there a board meeting between the date of testing and the first event? Yeah, this board.
Should be one on the 28th, April 28th. That would.
So can I assume we'll have a discussion on the 28th?
We can work towards that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, good idea.
Mr. Norsini, I think one of the other suggestions by Mr. Nye was training. How's that going to work in that kind of short amount of time?
So, again, the WPP has been making strides towards this end. And one of the things we've all known all along is they have to hire an event manager. She or he's going to have to be familiar with the system as you brought forth. So at this point, I think to help fill out their job description, they're going to wait to see what these solutions are. And from talking with Scott and I don't think there's a long lead on the training, really.
Steve, there was a second report, the Mondo report.
So,
are they taking any recommendations from the Mondo report?
Commissioner, that was a report done outside of the township, right? We didn't commission that report, and that was more strictly on equipment as opposed to these methods that we're looking at. I do not believe the Mondo report got into the type of speakers, buffering of sound, monitoring of sound, because that's actually one of the other recommendations, my apologies, was to purchase software to help us monitor consistently throughout. So I believe the Mondo report, again, not a Township Commission report, was more on equipment.
Okay, but is there any value in that report?
Commissioner, I have not read that report. So at this point, I do not know. We're moving forward with Mr. Nye's report, which seemed to be more comprehensive in that it's not just looking at how the music goes in and how the music goes out into an amplifier panel, but what's the results when it gets outside the tent. But I can't talk to that report.
Okay, and then separate topic, not Willows related, but Invery related. Is there a status on the lights going into that neighborhood? The light replacement?
Yeah, I can speak to that. We actually are looking, they still have locations around the township that they have to finish up. So I would say in the next couple weeks, hopefully, that'll be, but I can get an answer to you definitively.
All right, thank you.
Any further commissioner comments or questions? Or old business in general? No? Any public participation on this? No. Any final public participation on anything? Seeing none, could I have a motion to adjourn? And a second? All in favor?